Area 51, two words that launched a million conspiracy theories, 1,000 documentary segments, and in 2019, a viral Facebook event that nearly sent 1.5 million people charging toward a military fence in the Nevada desert. The government denied the base existed for decades, denied it hard, and then, slowly, the documents started coming out, some of them. And here's the thing, the actual history is so extraordinary that it barely needs embellishment. Let's go through 50 of the most remarkable facts, starting with the basics. Fact 50. The CIA and the U.S. Air Force officially acquired the Groom Lake site in 1955. The base sits 83 miles north-northwest of Las Vegas, inside a restricted airspace rectangle measuring 23 by 25 miles, officially part of the Nevada Test and Training Range. The full complex covers approximately 368,000 acres. Fact 49. It has a real name, several actually. The official designation is Homey Airport. The Atomic Energy Commission mapped it as part of their Nevada Proving Ground grid, and Area 51 came from that grid numbering. Simple bureaucracy. But the CIA called it something more inviting in early recruitment materials, Paradise Ranch. The thinking was that nobody would volunteer to live in the Nevada desert without a compelling pitch, and apparently, Paradise was the best they could come up with. Other code names over the years included Watertown and Dreamland. Fact 48. The only way in is by air. An unmarked commuter fleet, known informally among people who track such things as Janet Airlines, ferries an estimated 1,500 workers back and forth from Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas every single day. These are people commuting to a base that officially didn't exist for most of their working lives. Fact 47. The closest a civilian can legally get is Tikaboo Peak, roughly 26 miles from the perimeter fence. On a clear day, with powerful enough binoculars, you can just barely make out the runways, each one stretching 2.3 miles across the desert floor. That's as close as you get. Fact 46. The U.S. government officially acknowledged the base's existence on June 25, 2013, through documents released under a Freedom of Information Act request, originally filed in 2005. For decades before that, the words Area 51 were literally covered in black ink in any government document where they appeared. Presidents Clinton and Bush had each referenced a location near Groom Lake in executive orders demanding continued secrecy, but neither man would say the name, not once. Fact 45. The workers recruited to the facility were bound by non-disclosure agreements so severe that many arrived without knowing which project they had been assigned to. Their families were told nothing, and so the secrets accumulated. Now, the reason the base existed in the first place. Fact 44. In the early 1950s, with the Cold War growing colder by the month, the CIA launched a covert program to build the world's most capable reconnaissance aircraft. The result, developed under the codename Project Aquatone, was the Lockheed U-2, single-engine, glider-like wings, designed by Clarence Kelly Johnson, the engineer behind some of the most advanced aircraft ever built. Fact 43. The U-2 was engineered to fly at 70,000 feet. That was the entire point. At that altitude, no existing Soviet surface-to-air missile system could reach it, and no interceptor aircraft could climb high enough to threaten it. The aircraft could photograph deep inside Soviet territory, monitoring missile installations, nuclear facilities, and military airfields that were otherwise completely invisible to Western intelligence. Fact 42. Lockheed built the plane at its secretive Skunk Works headquarters in Burbank, California, in 8 months. Then they sent it to Area 51 for testing. Fact 41. The first unintended flight happened on August 1, 1955. Lockheed's chief test pilot, Tony LeVere, was performing a high-speed taxi run across the lake bed when the aircraft simply lifted off. His words, "I had no intentions whatsoever of flying." Fact 40. Keeping the U-2 airborne at extreme altitude required a fuel that wouldn't evaporate before it could be burned. Shell Oil Company developed a special low-volatility kerosene from petroleum byproducts normally used in their Flit brand insect repellent. The world's most secret spy plane ran on bug spray derivative. Fact 39. The pressurized suits developed to keep U-2 pilots alive at 70,000 feet later played a direct role in the design of suits worn by American astronauts. Area 51 contributed technology to the moon program. Fact 38. The U-2 flew covert overflight missions successfully for years until May 1, 1960, when Soviet air defenses shot one down over the Ural Mountains. Pilot Francis Gary Powers survived the shoot-down but was captured. He was eventually traded in a spy exchange for Soviet intelligence officer Rudolf Abel in 1962. The story Steven Spielberg dramatized in Bridge of Spies. Fact 37. The U-2 contributed meaningfully to averting nuclear war. During the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, U-2 Photokshi APHS provided conclusive evidence of Soviet nuclear-armed missiles on the island, giving the Kennedy administration the proof it needed to act. Now here's where Area 51 and the alien mythology collide. Fact 36. The U-2 began flying above 60,000 feet at a time when commercial airline cruising altitude was roughly 10,000 feet. Civilian pilots looking up from below saw something moving at impossible speed and altitude, catching the last rays of the setting sun, glowing like a fiery object against the darkening sky. They reported it hundreds of times. Fact 35. The CIA's own declassified documents are explicit about what happened next. High-altitude testing of the U-2 soon led to an unexpected side effect, a tremendous increase in reports of unidentified flying objects. U-2 and later OXCART flights accounted for more than half of all UFO reports received during the late 1950s and most of the 1960s. Fact 34. The Air Force's Project Blue Book, the official government investigation into UFO sightings, quietly cross-referenced reports against classified flight records and confirmed the explanations internally. They could not tell the people who had filed the reports what they had actually seen. The secret was more sensitive than the sighting. Fact 33. The government recognized the utility of this confusion. Internal analysis concluded that Area 51's association with alien life served as a useful public distraction from news about radioactive fallout from nuclear weapons tests and classified aviation development. The aliens weren't real, but they were convenient. By 1959, Kelly Johnson already knew the U-2's days were numbered. He had worked through more than a dozen revisions on its successor. Fact 32. The result was the A-12 OXCART, an aircraft designed to travel at 3 times the speed of sound and incorporate the first serious radar-absorbing design elements ever integrated into a combat aircraft. Fact 31. The first A-12 flight test took place at Groom Lake on April 25, 1962. Fact 30. The aircraft had a wide, disc-shaped fuselage engineered to carry enormous quantities of fuel. Its titanium body reflected radar energy and sunlight in unusual, unpredictable ways. Veterans of the OXCART program later acknowledged openly that the A-12's shape, broad, metallic, moving at speeds no conventional aircraft could match, almost serial-tainly generated more UFO reports on its own than any single aircraft before or since. Fact 29. 11 pilots were selected for 12 operational missions. By fall 1965, both aircraft and pilots were declared combat ready. Fact 28. The SR-71 Blackbird, the manned successor in this lineage, flew at 400 feet per second. That is faster than a rifle bullet. Retired in 1990 after more than 3 decades of continuous service, it remains the fastest manned aircraft ever built. Fact 27. Early versions of radar-absorbent coatings were developed and applied at Groom Lake during the OXCART program. Area 51 was working on stealth technology decades before the concept entered public knowledge. In November 1978, the Air Force launched a classified program designated Senior Trend. The mission: build a fully operational stealth fighter. Fact 26. The first flight of the resulting aircraft, the F-117 Nighthawk, took place in June 1981, almost certainly at Groom Lake. The Air Force declared it operationally ready in October 1983. Fact 25. The existence of the F-117 was not publicly confirmed until November 1988. For 5 years, a combat-ready stealth aircraft was flying missions without the American public knowing it existed. Fact 24. In 1986, President Reagan ordered strikes on Libya following the La Belle Disco bombing in West Berlin. the Air Force planned to use the F-117. Defense Secretary Caspar Weinberger blocked it. He didn't want to reveal that the plane was real. Fact 23. In the 2 years before the F-117 was publicly acknowledged, the program experienced 2 fatal crashes. The families of those pilots could not be told the truth about how their relatives died. Not publicly, not for years. Fact 22. Even after the F-117 was officially retired from Air Force service, photographs and video footage from 2019 confirmed at least 1 or 2 aircraft still flying over Area 51, possibly used to test radar sensors and stealth countermeasures. The retired aircraft apparently kept flying. Fact 21. In the late 1960s, the CIA covertly obtained a Soviet MiG-21 fighter jet, codenamed Have-Donut, after an Iraqi defector flew it to Israel, and the aircraft was loaned to the United States, and it arrived at Area 51 on January 23, 1968. Fact 20. Area 51 specialists dismantled it completely, studied every system, and reverse-engineered its performance envelope. The program had 4 specific objectives: evaluating American fighter tactics against the MiG-21, identifying the Soviet jet's combat weaknesses, developing new dogfighting strategies to defeat it, and assessing its overall design. In short, learn exactly how to kill it. Fact 19. In April 1974, NASA astronauts aboard Skylab accidentally photographed Area 51 from space. There had been explicit instructions not to do this. A memo from April 19, 1974, confirmed the photograph existed and triggered a classified interagency review. The Department of Defense wanted it suppressed. NASA and the State Department wanted it released. The image ended up in a public data repository in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Fact 18. Less than 2 years after Area 51 became a test facility, the Soviet Union launched its first successful spy satellite, the Zenit 2, on April 26, 1962. It stayed in orbit for 3 days. The U.S. government immediately began photographing its own base with American reconnaissance assets, trying to determine what Soviet satellites might be able to see from orbit. They were spying on themselves. Fact 17. In 2017, satellite imagery showed a new hangar under construction at the base, measuring 200 by 250 feet, slightly more floor area than a football field. No official explanation was offered. Analysts connected the activity to the B-21 stealth bomber program. Fact 16. Photographs taken by a private pilot in a Cessna 150 in 2020 revealed another massive hangar being built adjacent to facilities believed to have once housed the F-117 fleet. Nobody commented officially. Fact 15. The RQ-180 stealth drone, built by Northrop Grumman, first flew from Groom Lake in 2010. Its wingspan stretches approximately 170 feet. It weighs around 15 tons. Fact 14. The RQ-180 is capable of sustained flight for 24 hours and can operate up to 1,200 nautical miles from its base, with stealth characteristics designed specifically to penetrate modern integrated air defense networks. Fact 13. In 2019, the aircraft was reportedly transferred to operational status at Beale Air Force Base. Before that, every test flight had originated from Area 51. Fact 12. A classified graduation mission, believed to be codenamed Project Magellan, tested the RQ-180's autonomous navigation at extreme northern latitudes, possibly as far as the geographic North Pole. Fact 11. The famous Bob Lazar story, his 1989 claim of working at a facility called S4, reverse engineering alien spacecraft using Element 115, is not supported by a single document in the declassified record. Element 115, now known as Moscovium, was first synthesized by Russian and American scientists in 2003. Fact 10. The 1947 Roswell crash was documented in a 1994 Air Force report as wreckage from Project Mogul, a classified program using high-altitude balloon arrays to acoustically detect Soviet nuclear detonations. No document in the current declassified record places ion technology or biological specimens anywhere near Groom Lake. Fact 9. In 2023, former intelligence officer David Grush testified under oath before Congress that the U.S. government possessed recovered non-human technology. The Advanced Aerial Research Office's 2024 historical report found no verified evidence supporting those claims. It left the door open for ongoing review. Fact 8. The RAT-55, using the call sign Sabre 98, is one of the Air Force's most secretive active radar test aircraft, with a distinctive elongated nose and humpbacked fuselage designed to collect radar cross-section data on stealth aircraft during flight. It operates out of Area 51. Fact 7. The Skylab photograph controversy revealed something important about the government's internal culture around the base. Even NASA, not typically a secretive organization, found itself caught between competing agencies over what could be publicly known. Fact 6. The restricted zone around Area 51 is still expanding. Recent years have seen additional land withdrawals, extending the security perimeter further into the surrounding desert. Fact 5. The Janet Airlines fleet currently operating between Las Vegas and Groom Lake uses Boeing 737s, white aircraft, red stripe, no markings beyond a registration number. They depart from a private terminal with its own fenced-off section of the airport. Fact 4. The base perimeter is patrolled by private security contractors operating under government contract, not uniformed military police. They have legal authority to use lethal force. The warning signs on the boundary fence are explicit about this. Fact 3. The Groom Lake runway complex is one of the longest in the world. The primary runway stretches 2.3 miles. A secondary runway adds another 1.5 miles. The infrastructure exists to support aircraft that nobody has officially acknowledged building yet. Fact 2. In 2026, the Advanced Aerial Research Office's public mandate expanded to include FOIA-driven disclosure of program locations and legacy documentation, a process expected to either confirm or definitively rule out the most serious extraordinary claims made about the base over the past several decades. Fact 1. The base is still fully operational today.